there is a 5-year-old boy. He wakes up to his mother patting him on the back. Get up, it's time to leave. The boy, afraid, gets up and goes with his mother. They enter a bus filled with most of the people from his village, all afraid. As the bus drives farther away from the village, the boy appears to hear bombings and gunfire. He looks through the window and he sees the bus in front of him bombed and the bus behind him gunned down. His mom quickly yells at him, "Get under the seat, put your head down." The boy finds himself numb, shaking, and in tears. He takes deep, long breaths. He realizes he's been taken abruptly from the comfort of his home and wakes up to war and violence. There's a 5-year-old girl, and she wakes up in the middle of the night to her dad patting her on the back. "Baby girl, it's time to go." Her dad carries her to the car, to the nearest port. And as they drive through the city, she finally knows what's going on. The city is burning. She drives past her school and it's in ruins. And at the port, she hears the pain of burning bodies and dead bodies covered in blankets. Her dad, trying to protect her, carries her to the nearest boat to escape the terror, but in the silence, she hears the weeping of those left behind. The girl finds herself numb, shaking, and in tears. She takes deep and long breaths. She realizes she's been taken abruptly from the comfort of her home and wakes up to war and violence. The 5-year-old boy is my father, and the 5-year-old girl is my mother. When will we go back home? When will things get back to normal? These were the painful questions that lingered in the hearts of the boy and the girl. Ironically, though, in different circumstances, I found myself asking those same questions 30 years later. When I was 5 years old, my family and I just arrived to America to live with my grandparents. We arrived just 3 months before 9/11. One of my first weeks as a kindergartner was an introduction to despair and destruction. It was my introduction to America. Growing up in a new country brought about many challenges. I remember having a conversation with my mom telling me, "Son, you have to learn English to survive here. It's okay if you forget Tagalog, which is my native tongue for now." I don't blame my mom for telling me that. Learning a new language in a new country is necessary. But I remember as an immigrant kid in a place where not a lot of kids looked like me, I felt like I had to measure up, work harder, grow up faster, just to be equal to those around me. And this feeling grew into my adolescence. I was all about trying to be perfect because I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. When I was with Filipinos, I didn't feel Filipino enough. When I was with Americans, I didn't feel American enough. I was caught in between two worlds, my Filipino heritage and my American culture, my developing English language skills and losing the capacity to speak my native tongue. Individuality and community And while I tried to do my best to cope with it, I was reminded of my difference. And that brought a lot of shame. I thought, I'm less than others. I'm not enough. I thought I was the problem. What I've learned over the years is avoiding the pain doesn't take it away. So every conflict, bad memory, or pain I experience, I tried to avoid. And guess how I did that? Smiling like it never happened. I gave the illusion to people around me that I wasn't experiencing any pain or regret. And now I see it as a form of toxic positivity. What I've learned is that the past will always be working in the present. It's there. To get unstuck is to remember it and face all that it brings. The regret, the pain, the suffering, and the laughter, the joy, and the gratitude. When we remember our stories, we reclaim what was taken from us. There is this beautiful Japanese art form called kintsugi, which literally means gold joinery. It is the practice of mending together broken pieces of teapots into beautiful art forms. Kintsugi became known for making and creating broken pieces more beautiful than its original product. And the underlying truth here is that beauty is not measured or determined by symmetry, but brokenness, and as an essential part of its history. There is brokenness there is gold between every broken piece. The faults are not hidden in its shape, rather they magnify its overall beauty. Perhaps kintsugi can help us understand the power of remembering our past, not as broken pieces, but an essential part of our overall history, and therefore a history worth mending together with gold. The task of remembrance and reclaiming our past is to see our past not as unwanted pieces or damaged goods, but as an integral part of what makes us beautiful. As I reflect upon this image, I am reminded of a terrible day in my history. On January 26, 2019, a couple associated and connected with an extremist Islamic group committed 2 suicide bombings at an 8 a.m. Catholic church service in my birthplace, Holosulu. One bomb exploded in the middle of service, and the second one exploded towards the exit as people were trying to escape the terror. The bombings killed around 123 people, including my family and friends. After I heard the news, I was numb. I was devastated. I was grieving. In my anger and fear towards Muslims grew. They were the ones who killed my people. I couldn't see them. I didn't want to be anywhere near them. And at that time, I was in Waco, attending seminary. I was working with Better Together, a group that aimed at walking with students from different religious backgrounds, including Muslims. 2 months after the bombings, I had a conversation with a young Muslim Baylor student, Rohina. And I mustered up the courage to tell her and share to her my story of the suicide bombings that affected me so deeply. After she heard my story, she looked at me straight in the eyes and said, "On behalf of all Muslims, I ask for forgiveness." I couldn't believe that this undergraduate would give me such a gift. And I didn't know her words were the words I needed to hear to begin my healing. She did not erase the past and hurt of that day, but her words were the right words I needed to hear. Rohina helped me mend together the broken pieces of my past through the power of forgiveness. Now, I still remember the pain and loss of that day, but instead of concluding that all Muslims are extremists, Rohina helped me embrace the pain and hurt so that healing can take place. My healing could have only taken place when I was open enough to allow the gold to seep in and allow it to do its mending. I invite you today to practice the art of remembrance. To remember not only the joyful moments, but also the painful ones. And when you do, you reclaim everything that has been taken from you. Love, hope, a sense of home, peace. In the mystery of life, the tragedies, the pain, the mistakes are pieces waiting to be mended by gold. Remember that all of our stories can be mended by gold. Remember your story. Remember who you are. I am Michael Wayne Tan Liga, the son of Weni Liga, a nurse and nurturing mother, and Ronnie Liga, a pastor and faithful father, a brother to two beautiful and gifted sisters, Liza and Precious Liga. I am a Filipino American and a proud immigrant from the Philippines, a Christian called to be a chaplain and a minister, and I no longer want to forget. Thank you.